I think it's all to do with independency, really. People are becoming very, very independent at the ages that you've stated. And I think sometimes with that is that they've not got a lot of skills, so they go for the fast food option. And it's very, very easy to get it, because you can get it absolutely anywhere.
So available.
So, drive-throughs are always fast food. Garages. Always there's lots of fast food there available that you can heat up. Sandwiches, pasties, so not maybe necessarily healthy things. They're very, very easily to get. They're quite cheap if you're buying for one as well.
Exactly.
You can eat them. You can get them at any sort of time of the day as well, can't you? You can pick them up at your supermarkets. Just place them in your microwave, eat them from the containers, so they tend to be very, very easy. And I think some people usually at your target market, 24 to 35, maybe the first time that they've left home, they've not got skills, or they did have skills early on, and maybe have learned some stuff at school, hopefully in Key Stage 3, but that's like maybe 10 years ago for some people, so you lose your confidence and actually...
So you reckon it's kind of a lack of skills and knowledge of...
I definitely think it's a lack of skills, and I think people want to eat, and sometimes it's sometimes a fast food option is a good option because it fills the gap, and they can get on with the things that they really want to do.
Okay. Habits.
Trend and habits, basically, I think there's a lot of cafe culture going on. I think it's a very trendy thing to meet people up to have coffees, cakes and things. There's lots of lovely, fantastic restaurants you can go to. So again, people go out a lot nowadays, whereas 20, 30 years ago it would have been seen as a celebration. It's not really now. People will just do it today. It will be, and people just go out and do it. And there's lots of really good offers. You can go through voucher codes and get like 35% and 40% off a meal, and you can see why people want to do that at the end of the day. Right, I'll go and meet people, go and have something to eat, and then then I've done that, and I've also seen them as well. It's something ticked off the list for the end of the day. Fad diets, I think that's probably more so for your females who are always wanting to maybe lose weight.
Definitely.
Particularly maybe things like Weight Watchers, Slimming World and things like that. So I think that becomes an issue, and I think a lot of people then go and choose the convenience, maybe Weight Watchers product, or perhaps if they've got a little bit more knowledge and want to do things, maybe they might go and join places like Slimming World and things like that. So they're actually getting shown how to, given ideas of food products they can eat in a recipe book. So that's developing the skills, and I think it all comes down to that sort of skill. Can I do it? I think a lot of people don't like to fail, so they don't want to make something and then think, gosh, I've wasted that time and that effort.
Money and
I'd rather just get something just to keep on. Other sorts of fad diets maybe for people, like having the drinks, like the nutrient drinks and so forth as well. I'm not a believer in those sorts of things. I'd rather have food, because I think food's a social aspect for me, really. But I can understand people if they were really wanting to lose weight. That's a way to get there. But what I've tended to find, if people do fad diets and lose a lot of weight quickly, most people usually tend to put it back on.
So it's quite short term.
It's short term, and it's perhaps changing your diet in small ways and exercise, and I personally believe is a better way to become healthy, instead of
more sustainable.
Instead of having fad diets, losing that weight really quickly. Because really, realistically, you should only really be losing about 2 to 3 pounds a week in weight. Any extra than that usually tends to be water that can be put back on. So it's just maybe retraining yourself to having maybe 3 meals a day. And people do like to have a snack, but snack perhaps on healthy carrots and crackers and dips and low fat dips and things like that.
Chocolate and crisps.
Exactly, which again are very, very easy to get. When you just go into a garage forecourt and you're getting your petrol, and it's full of sweets and full of chocolates, and then there's 2 for £1. And,
like when you go into Tesco and you're waiting by the tills, even there's always like little chocolates.
Exactly, and then they do now sort of have an apple and a little bit of
a breakfast bar.
But it doesn't look really like appetising. So I think they could. I think the nation needs to think about things and say, right, if you spend so much, you're getting a free bag of apples or fruit or something like that. Rather,
so be a bit more clever with marketing.
Yeah, definitely.
Aspects like that.
Yeah. So eating fat does not make you fat. Well, I think it depends what sort of fat you're eating. There's so many different sorts of fats, and I think sometimes when people buy low fat products, they think, great, that's really good.
Yeah.
But if you look at the labels very carefully, often they tend to be higher in sugar.
Yeah.
And actually better to have more, I personally think, better to have fat rather than sugar. Sugar is an empty food product. So say, for example, I've looked at Greek yoghurt in a whole day. Two Greek yoghurts, one low fat, one just normal. The low fat one contains more sugar than the ordinary fat one, and I think unless you're really aware of that sort of thing, you would just pick up the low fat product.
Exactly.
And fat has also vitamins in it as well. It has fat soluble vitamins, which are really necessary for a healthy lifestyle as well. Vitamins A, D, E and K. So I think it's just being careful with the fats you choose, and careful not to have too many saturated fats that tend to come from animal origin. Looking at more at vegetable fats and fish fats like omega-3, omega-6 fatty acids as well, which contain the essential fatty acids that are needed in your body too.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, you need it. It has so many functions in the body. So it gives you the vitamins that I've said. It gives you warmth and it insulates your body. It protects your vital organs, and it is needed. Yeah. So yeah, it is. Yeah. I think it's debatable.
Yeah.
I think it's very debatable. I think there's so much out there, so many foods out there that you can be healthy if you want to be healthy. But I think it's having being careful in what you are eating at specific times.
Yeah.
Obviously we've got the Eat Well model, which has now been changed. I don't know if you know about that. That just changed back in March this year. So it used to be an Eat Well plate, and it gave you the portions of food products that you should be having a day. Well, that's now been changed to the Eat Well model, and that's really very, very good. It's a bit more annotated, and I think it's a little bit easier to understand. And obviously we're teaching that in school, and I've not seen it any elsewhere. And you think, well, actually we're just teaching it here, but why isn't it a little bit more nationwide? Why aren't we seeing it a little bit?
Maybe in sessions like PHSE, instead of doing some of the topics we're doing, maybe touching on healthy eating would be beneficial.
So, but I think it's just a way, not just in school. I think it's a family life thing as well, and I think it's parents encouraging that,
definitely.
And making sure that not buying loads of biscuits and crisps and all those sorts of things, but seeing that as a treat. So perhaps having
moderation.
A cake on a Saturday, or a biscuit in your lunchbox just maybe once a week. And thinking really carefully about what you have got in your lunchbox and what you've actually got in your cupboards at home. I think that's a big thing as well. So I think we can be healthy, and I think some restaurants are now giving us the choice to have a healthier option.
People, even fast food places, I think, are sometimes recognising that they need something healthy on the menu. I know probably a lot of people don't, but I know like McDonald's, it does like salads, and it does have maybe a wrap. It is
and it has the water choice, and it has the fruits instead of your chips and so forth. And then restaurants like Pizza Express and so forth will do the lighter option and so forth. But again, you've got to be wary on that as well, because they can market that really, really well and say 25% less fat in this product, but 25% less fat than the ordinary product. So actually, to reduce 25%, all you need to do is take a quarter of it away, and then you can say it's 25% less fat. So it's being careful with the things that they market it as well, and understanding that. I think you should be looking at everything, really. I mean, I think the sugar quantity is one really one to look at. The fat, looking at how much saturated fat is in it, and trying to make sure that you're choosing one that's low in saturated but maybe high in unsaturated and polyunsaturated. And protein should be getting around about 40 to 45 grams of protein a day, so making sure that you are having your protein portions each day as well. So I think it is important, but I think the food labelling could be better. We've got the traffic light symbol, but it's not always used and everything, and I think that's a really easy thing for anybody to understand, and you just want to see it straight away. You don't want it on the back of the label. People don't want to be doing that in the supermarket. It's one of those things that most people go to the supermarket and choose the thing. So maybe on the shelves it could be red, green, yellow.
It's a bit more easier to see.
Yeah, definitely. I think there is, but I think it could be more widely publicised. I think there could be more adverts on the television. As a nation, we had this bit more shock stuff on the telly as adverts. I think that we could basically have that more shock evidence, really. You know, this is what happened. And I mean, quite interestingly enough, when I was looking before researching what we're talking about today, in 2015 was the first year that more people in the world died from chronic diseases, and those chronic diseases such as heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes, than from communicable diseases. So that's quite shocking evidence, really, that people are actually dying perhaps because of the diet and also the lifestyle.
So you think more people should be aware of that, and it would shock some people. So do you reckon that's maybe what we could include in our documentary?
I think
to have that shocking effect?
Definitely. You know, the likelihood of people, the percentage of people being obese in so many years. You may have seen a programme a few years ago called, you're probably too young actually, called Honey, We're Killing the Kids. And that was really quite a good shocking programme. You had a family, they looked at the diets, they weighed everybody, they looked at what they were eating, and they said, right, in so many years your child could be, they've got a higher risk of obesity, they've got a higher risk of diabetes type 2 and so forth. And it was saying that basically with what you are doing to yourself, this could be the consequence. And you had people obviously physically crying there because they were upset, because they thought, my goodness, actually I'm not looking after my children as well as I could be.
They don't realise that.
Except the consequences, So I think shock stuff is good. You know, shock adverts are good. You know, if you think about shock adverts about drink driving, about speeding, you know, people talk about it.
They do.
And this is what we need. We need a bit more of a shock sort of thing, I think.
I think we need something like this.
Something a bit shocking, just to say, you know, this is what the consequence of having lots of ready-made convenience food products and fast food products, how quickly you could actually make something, and having maybe getting a link, if you know, to somebody who's a well-known chef, about really, really quick and easy products to actually make, and just having like a little leaflet, right, you're starting out, these really easy, simple products that you could make at home.
Okay.
You can change your habits now. You can
it's
become.
Not too late.
No, you can become, because it's never too late to change habits. You can change your habits. Just small changes can make a big difference.
Okay.
I don't think so, really. No, I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.